I've been asked to say a little bit more about why the study of the outer planets as a trinity, the Holy Trinity of astrology, is useful. Why would we do that? Why do we need to see them as a threesome rather than individually? And I think the question does need to be addressed. I've made the assumption that is intuitively clear, but perhaps I need to be more explicit. First of all, the timing of their discovery is extraordinary. For 200 or 300,000 years, we had seven planets, and then all of a sudden, within half a millennium, much less actually, we had another three. But they have to be seen as unity, a unity with three different aspects. So that's the first thing which I mentioned before. So that they were discovered very quickly together, as soon as we discovered telescopes, really, we had this extraordinary new unfolding of astrology. It's hard to say how extraordinary it is. It's commonplace for us to think of these outer planets to exist, but it's very new in human consciousness. That's the first thing. They mark a sudden development in human consciousness where instead of believing religiosity and being told what was the Word of God and being trained and in fact bullied and punished into believing what we have been told is the Word of God. That has to be undone. We can't live with that. That's not okay. There are all manner of reasons why it's not okay. From the most obvious is that the word was written a very long time ago, and it was using language which does not really squeeze into the smaller language that we have today, by which I mean any knowledge given in a mantric language, and there are only four: Sanskrit, Hebrew, Aramaic, or Arabic. They contain a linguistic structure that gives more information than the vernacular languages like English or any other. We can't get the concepts into our own language easily, so we have to be very careful. Now, for example, it is said that the Ten Commandments are just wrong. Thou shalt not steal, when you look in the Hebrew, really does imply thou shalt not steal people. In other words, kidnapping is wrong. Don't say anything about taking an apple from somebody else's tree. It's just wrong. It's badly translated, and many other uh, incorrect interpretations arise because of simple inability to translate a language into another. So we have to update our sense of what is spiritual philosophy. And we come to learn that nobody will share your opinions about that. Given any freedom of interpretation at all, people will interpret it differently because each of us has a unique mind, a unique creative mind, which is free to evolve its own understandings. And here we have those three keywords: freedom, creativity, and evolution, that I'm allocating to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. When we do this, we can see there is a triplicity here, that each of the three outer planets represents each of the three archetypes, all of which are so intimately interconnected that unity cannot be understood unless you understand these three archetypes of being. Who could doubt that our purpose is to evolve? It's self-evident. Who could doubt that our purpose is to be free? We feel it. Whatever the consequences, we want to be free. And we want to do it our way. That's creativity. Our imagination creates a unique experience and perception and behavior. So these three words are intuitively obvious. Now, here's the clever bit. If you find in your life one of these three archetypes is blocked, for example, you don't feel free, then look to the other two, evolution and creativity. If you're not feeling free, you need to evolve creatively to become someone who does feel free. Now, sometimes that's an inward experience. If you're locked up in a prison cell, there's not much you can do, but you can internalize your sense of freedom and escape the harshness of those limitations. If you're not evolving, it's because you're not being creative in a free expression of self. If you don't express yourself creatively and freely, you can't evolve. And if you're not being creative, if you find yourself just carrying on the same old habit, well, you need to evolve. You need to be free in your expression of what growth would look like. How would it be if I were free? What would it be like if I could create my own version of whatever reality in the end? You see, we're using each of the other two outer planets to resolve problems within each of the planets themselves. One outer planet can be resolved by the other two, or in fact, even one of them. Now, that's a new idea, and you check it out, it works. And since it works, we can free ourselves to be creative and evolve. And that's the game plan in life. When we do that, we're doing what we're supposed to do. That then engages us with soul consciousness. And it's not just something you have to believe anymore. You don't have to follow a priest or a Bible, anything written. You just know it. It's intuitively clear. And even if you step towards this understanding, you get a sense that it's a good path, it's a good way to walk. So if you try out these ideas, just look at your transits, historically, the transits that you've been through, just to see whether or not after a difficult Pluto transit, you found yourself to be grown, evolved, more than growth in wisdom, growth in opportunity, growth in influence. Just check it out. I'm pretty clear that you will find it to be the case. After a difficult Uranus transit, do you actually claim more freedom? After an awkward Neptune transit, is your mind free to create more from your imagination? Now, if it does check out, then you can look upon your upcoming outer planet transits with a great deal more enthusiasm and understanding. And as soon as we understand what's happening to us during an outer planet transit, the the angst, the difficulties, they start to dissolve. These transits are not supposed to be harsh. They are for many people, and that's because we're not looking at them in the right way. And we are not looking at them in the right way very often because we've been told that they're horrendous. Many astrologers just deliver that to their clients. I don't really. I look forward to my outer planet transits because although there is a challenge involved, which is okay, there's a reward which is worth the challenge and more. And I'm seeing that any outer planet transit is a combination of all three outer planet transits in disguise. And you can see how they merge together when you understand fully what the Trinity point can tell you. If you study the Sabian symbol of your Trinity point again and again and again and again, you'll really get who you are on a deeper, more subtle level. And that will empower you to go through any of these outer planet transits more readily, more enthusiastically. So that's what works for me anyway, and I hope it might be helpful for you.